Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about the stages of healing and rehab. So what you're looking at here is a timeline of what exactly is happening during the phases of healing and treatment. So the first thing we're going to have is that injury. So whenever the injury happens, we're going to start with healing. So from day 4, day 6, we're in that acute inflammatory phase. So we're going to have those cardinal signs of inflammation, which are going to be redness, heat, loss of function, swelling. Those are just some of them. I have another video if you want to watch that one. And we're also going to have clot formation. So while this is happening, we're also going to be in maximum protection phase. So during that maximum protection phase, we're going to want to protect the tissue. So we're going to be using Price, and we're going to refer back to this throughout this video. But Price is going to be protecting, resting, icing, compressing, and elevating the tissue. For what we're able to do as PTAs, we're going to be able to do passive range of motion on the tissue itself, but active range of motion needs to be done on the surrounding tissues. You cannot do active range of motion at this point on the injured tissue itself. We're also going to have isometrics and massage. We cannot do stretching in this phase. So stretching is a contraindication. The next thing we have are going to be the subacute or the proliferation phase. So with the days itself, it really just depends on what the injury is. So it's not exactly like, oh, once you hit day 14, you're immediately in this phase, right? It just depends on the person, depends on the injury, depends on basically everything. But this is just going to be a general timeline. So for the subacute, this is whenever your fibroblasts are laying down immature collagen. We're having growth at the capillary bed. So we're seeing a lot of growth here. While this is happening, we're going to be in the moderate protection phase or also the controlled motion. So we can do active exercise here. We can do active range of motion. We can do stretching, and this should not be here. So we're going to just take that out. We want the movements to be functional, but we're not returning to function yet. There is a high increased risk of injury, so we are going to refer back to Price if needed, but we are able to do active exercise. Just we want to make sure we're not pushing it too much and making sure that we're not messing up the immature collagen that's being laid down by the fibroblasts. So once we get out of the subacute proliferation phase, we're going to be going to the chronic maturation phase. So we're at this last phase here. So this phase can start from day 21 and it can start on day 60. It also, once you start, it can last months. So it just depends, like I said, on the injury and the person. So during this, the collagen is maturing. We want to make sure during this phase that the collagen is maturing and repairing correctly. If it does not repair correctly, that can cause a lot of problems, increased adhesions, decreased range of motion. A lot of things can happen here that we want to make sure that we are healing correctly. Whenever we're in this phase, we're also in that return to function phase. So this is where we want to start really training the body functionally. We want to go back to exactly as much as we can, back to whatever movement the person was doing before, right? So we can stretch, we're going to do plyometrics, we're just going to be challenging the tissue more intensely, but still making sure that it isn't too much on the patient. And if you start seeing signs that it is, then we're going to go back to that Price and making sure that we're doing what is needed. But yeah, this is going to be the phases of healing and treatments.